Hello, everyone, and welcome to a brand new episode of Stallions Run. I'm, of course, your host Buck with Scout this week. Bit of a different episode tone wise. I think we're gonna have a. I think this is gonna be. I don't know. Would you call it the depression episode? Because there's like a lot of stuff kind of going on that I'm personally kind of not a fan of.
Oh yeah,
I guess Scout, what's kind of your thoughts on? I guess like not just like without going into detail, kind of what's your feelings about like this past like 5 days?
it's been like a whirlwind, I guess. It's been like thing after one thing after the other. Really hard to understand. And I think it kind of all it climaxed honestly with like so Skip Holtz has a weekly interview on three man front
Hmm.
on WJOX.
Right. Which we'll get to later.
And
We'll get to it later.
yeah.
But I guess
But I'm saying
I
like
guess right.
like it all fit between last Wednesday and this Wednesday. So.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, this feels like it's been a very I guess a needed week for the Stallions almost in some aspects because I don't know. Like, do you think we needed this loss? Because I personally don't, and I'll talk about that. But were there bad aspects for the Stallions? Yeah, but I got some stuff I got to complain about that I just can't. I can't. You know, I guess before I go on and ramble for a little bit, Scott, like, I guess what was your thoughts on the game versus San Antonio?
Yeah, so I will say, I will preface, for those that know, I was in New Orleans for the game. So I had my live thoughts and my post-game thoughts didn't really correlate. So I can't really say. In the first half, I was feeling, this. But it was so weird, I guess, for the first half. Our offense was doing nothing, which we averaged, 30 something points a game when they were doing nothing. And then we seem to get in this rut of a lot of shotgun runs and stuff, and we were getting a lot of third and five, third and four situations, and we couldn't convert. And I know Holtz talked about it. Holtz was like, "Hey, we had the lowest of I forgot if he said lowest in franchise history or just lowest in the season, but we had a very, very low third down percentage. And you can't win games going less than 40% from third down, especially when you're hitting third down every single drive. Um, and for me, it was just so weird. Like it was such a different experience than any other game that we've had because it was like we weren't adjusting. And I think one thing too is and I guess the Battlehawks game sort of had the same vibe, but this was really the first game. The defense played out, in my opinion. The defense is not the reason why we lost. Like, if you hold a team below 20 points, not the defense's fault at that point. But I don't know how to word it exactly correct, but the offense was so stagnant that the defense they had to make a play, and they made plays, but they didn't make that one pick in positive territory or that one,
Oh no, they
touchdown.
made that pick. We'll get to talk about that. Don't worry,
Well, I mean,
don't
yeah,
worry.
they,
But before,
but I'm saying, but it was so weird.
okay, all right, I'm going to take over for a little bit. You see, Scout, if I do a shotgun motion or finger guns, do you think I mean actual violence to you?
No,
Do you like if I do like this bang, like you don't think I'm going to harm you, right?
no.
Okay, can you explain to me why a UFL referee thinks that is unsportsmanlike conduct?
Oh, I did see this part. I had no, like, you know how many high school kids I've seen, you're like, or whatever,
Bang bang
right?
bang bang. Yeah. I mean that's
Also,
common. That's
didn't the
bang
gamblers
bang.
do that last
I
year?
guess I yes. Yes, because they're
Yes.
gamblers and they're like outlaws. Bang, 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 bang. Yosemite Sam over here, and all of a sudden that's a violence and unsportsmanlike
And
conduct.
didn't,
I'm
because
sorry.
Magoo did
That
the,
the no. Here's the problem. My prayer should have shut that down instantly. And the fact he did, I have been kind of holding in for the show. I wanted to go on a big Twitter diatribe about that, but I said, no, No, I'm going to entertain people because that is one of the most garbage calls that I've ever seen. The UFL should be ashamed that that call was even a thing. Command Center should have gone in and said, "What are you doing? We are picking up this flag, and we're not going to worry about it because oh no, someone did some kind of like either a finger on a shotgun motion. Oh no, oh God, shiver me timbers. There was a shotgun hand motion. Who cares?" But no. So UFL, all right, bad. We got ref ball already going. So great job, good job. And then you have that fumble happen where Birmingham should have gone that ball. Was it a great position for the Stallions? No, but it was a turnover. They don't review it. They don't review it. They just say, nah, it's San Antonio ball. It's just like that. It absolutely, Command Center did not play the part in their game that they should have. And I'm not saying, oh, they need to be all the Stallions calls. They just need to be like pro Stallions and need to be pro Birmingham, raw Stallions. No, it should have been Command Center going in and saying, hey, we need to go take a review of this because we think there might have been a fumble that changes the outcome of the game possibly. But no, just like Command Center absolutely failed this game. I'm sorry. If my prayer gets to this, you absolutely messed up on your job for this game. This was Command Center should have stepped in multiple times, did not step in when they should have. And I'm not saying this is all a referee thing. I'm gonna be a little more calm on this part. Skip Holtz should have thrown the super challenge on that last interception. That was an absolutely missed call. You go in and it looks like there was possible defensive pass interference. It looked like there was potentially. You throw that flag and say, "Hey, look, let's take a look at this and just potentially challenge it." What do you have to lose in that scenario? Nothing. It was a win-win scenario no matter what. Because one, you either in the game, okay, you know what, it sucks, or possibly you get the ball back. So absolutely, there were some coaching decisions that I was not personally a fan of. Now, let me say this: I might be ranting, I might be raving. I'm not saying the sky is falling, but at the same time, there were decisions that were made both on the UFL side, the coaching side, and some of the offensive playing side that I am concerned about heading into this week's game and heading into this conference championship. So I guess my thing is prepare for the possibility that there's potentially extra players on the other side of the ball in a different colored jersey. And at the same time, we got to get the passing game together because it was perfectly fine until this game, and that wasn't the defense. Something was absolutely wrong with the mechanics of Adrian Martinez. I could not figure out what it was, but he was either
Oh, I mean,
overthrowing, underthrowing, huh? What?
one simple thing is that Adrian was having to huff it over, a really tall tackle and a really tall defensive end every time he went anywhere to the right, like anywhere to the right with his arm.
Yeah.
And it was difficult for him. And I'm like, that's a game plan thing though. And we hit Jace 7 times this game for
Mm-hmm.
110 yards, right? But it's like, why did we wait so long to hit Jace?
Again,
Like,
Jace. Yes,
oh,
absolutely. Like I don't know why Jace has been minimalized. I would say in some aspects of the game. But maybe maybe he's just not the target for Adrian. Now he's maybe becoming a target again. I don't dictate things in coaching, so I try to stay away from that as much as I can.
yeah,
But there was, there's some aspects where it's like, okay, you got to kind of pull from what Alex did, what Jamar did, and you kind of learn from that,
yeah.
learn from that pass. So that's why I'm just saying on that front. So,
Which,
but yeah,
right,
yeah. Go
I
ahead.
will say one more point. I told you this, I said this last week. I don't understand why we're playing him every single week. Like,
Playing who?
especially that, like playing Martinez, especially this
Oh,
week.
come on,
And
no,
like,
don't do this. No, I'm sorry, no. Splitting QB drives, absolutely a bad idea. I've
oh,
reached
I
the
don't say
point.
split.
At
I
least
just mean,
no, here's the problem. You're saying that, but like, okay, So Adrian, you're dealing with someone
Yeah.
who runs a little bit more. His passing is not as much there compared to Matt. Matt doesn't run as much. His passing's a little better. You are adjusting the
Yeah.
offense every week for that. No,
Yeah.
the best play is right now stick with Adrian. Let him be the starter. If he starts having a bunch of just like jumps and stuff like that, then you ease back in Matt Corral. I'm not at that point yet. So,
Yeah. Hey, I will say
yeah,
also, and I'll get flack for this. I really don't care. Um, but K-Rob, Kenny Robinson, he honestly, like, yes, he got some flags on him, but the,
undeserved in my opinion.
the yes, the hit on Latimer, like, if he's already,
That was normal. That was normal.
if you are a normal sized human trying to take down a 6'5" man, I don't know how tall Latimer is actually, but he's huge, right? He's Hakeem Butler type, right? You're gonna want to, like, try to hit him, and that was a normal hit, and they got 30 yards from it because he was
Yeah,
like laying back. And here's my thing: someone said it was unnecessary. No, it's not. He fell down on his own. He's still alive. He's a
yeah.
runner. And he wasn't defenseless. And they said on the broadcast, and I just heard it, they said he was defenseless, and I was like, and it even happened now later in the game, that last one, like that's more of a okay, like if they call it one way, they probably can't flip it, right?
Yeah.
And I'm more okay with
But
that
here's the
call.
problem.
I'm
Here's
like,
the problem
okay,
with those calls. The command center. This is where center is supposed to come in and say, "Hey, let's take a review of these penalties. They might not be super
yeah,
great." And and where's command center during this? Did command
yeah,
center just go poof gone? So
yeah.
I don't
Also,
know.
I thought,
I'm pretty mad because the system that is supposed to stop this from happening did not stop this from happening, and where
yeah,
we've had great examples, command center stopping bad stuff when it comes to the referees making bad mistakes.
yeah,
Why did the magic just not happen with this game? That's kind of my question.
yeah.
So
Also, you know how many times I could point to the Battlehawks game or which one was it also? We've had some chippy games. Even the Renegades game, week one. How many
DC,
times there's been
DC,
there's been drawing or like the Jace hit, the
yes,
one that is still pinned on
yeah,
my face. I'll probably pin some of it. But you know what I'm saying? Like there's plenty of
mhm,
times where we have been affected because like every time that something like this happens, we get well, if it happened to your team, you'd be all for it. I'm like, not really. Like, well, I don't think
yeah,
we've gotten a few calls since the AJ McCarron hit. We got a call. We got a few calls our way in that same form, but we didn't get calls in that same, like, when Martinez rolled out or when Corral rolled out and they got caught on the
yeah.
leg. And I'm like, ugh. And I'm not here. I know Webb loves to say that Buck complains about ref ball all the time, but this
No, here's
game,
the problem. I will complain. I no, here's the
oh
problem. I have. People say it's a bad habit. No, I will absolutely because we have reached the media age of where everything is reviewable. Like I can
yeah,
go back and scroll and look at a play and see where an official screwed up. The issue is I'm upset when there's no accountability for officials when there very much should be at this rate. So, but yeah, but to be fair,
yeah,
Webb complains about everything also. So,
yeah.
hey
And
Webb,
and like I'm just tapping through the game, but it's like that K-Rob hit. It's like that's a foot. Like, yes, is it like the slightest dirty thing? Sure, but that's not a flat. Unless if you got a warning before that, it's not a flag. It's a warning. It's talking. You got grabbed by a shoulder pad, say, hey, don't do it again. But it's just, and it's such a pivotal moment, right? And then basically the
yeah.
same thing happens on when they pick it, and oh, it's perfectly fine. You know what I'm saying? Like, I mean the collision,
Command.
because they
I'll say.
said,
I'll say it once again. Command Center failed this game. Command Center
yeah,
absolutely failed their job this game. They should have been more reactive and more proactive about stopping
yeah,
these bad penalties. And if you look at it, I say it. The moment that unsportsmanlike penalty went through without any issues, the referees felt like they could get away with a lot more. So
yeah,
I'm just
and
saying.
it was just, and like the funniest thing, in my opinion. the San Antonio challenge on the Jay Sternberger run was the craziest thing to me. I don't know if you remember this, but they challenged what would have been, I think it was 10, 20
I'm trying to
yards.
around that
And
range. Yeah,
th- yeah, and they didn't even get it. And I'm like, we talked about if you can go back to any show and we've talked about certain things that like you can use the rules in your advantage. We want you to go for three every time, and we want you to, use the challenge effectively. So and to this point, we erased with our challenge against the Battlehawks, we erased the touchdown opportunity because
yeah.
they gained 20 yards or whatever. Hey, they held, so it turned 1st and 10 from the 12 to 2nd and 20 from the 40 or whatever, right? And it's like,
Mm-hmm.
and I think that was one that Smith missed too, or maybe he made it, but it was like a longer one. But like we've used it plenty. Also, I would like to add everybody that doesn't live in Alabama because I can see it on here now. My phone was like, the game was here, and then in this corner was just severe thunderstorm watch, and it just like it just showed the WSFA or whatever the map of
Yeah.
Lower Alabama,
You get
and
any
I'm
James
like,
Span with you?
ugh, yes, and the funniest part was like that wasn't even the worst weather of the weekend, but whatever. But yeah,
Yeah,
so first half was basically like that, and I guess we already have talked about the second half and stuff. But and I would like to say one thing, and I wish I had the blanket statement on this, but we actually started to pack the line, and we started to actually like put heavy sets in. Like I'm watching this, I believe, is this the touchdown play?
might be.
So yes, so this was on the touchdown drive, and we went 31 or yeah, we had three tight ends for two of the three plays, and then we ended up scoring a touchdown. And I'm like, that big boy football is gonna win us football games. And also, I will say one thing here. Our running backs, skill wise, were not the issue. It was us running shotgun runs to the weak side of the line that was the issue. You know what I'm saying? So.
Mm.
This is
All
gonna
right.
be our most
Well,
viewed thing, I already know.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I can already tell. Also, all right. Well, I guess let's kind of go ahead and talk about what's kind of been going on throughout the week. Past this game, so the game happens. The Stallions are now 8-1. But we do have some stuff to talk about. One has to do with I guess now former
Oh, ooh.
defensive coordinator John. What? What?
I have one more thing to talk about for the game. One more thing to talk about the
Okay.
game. Plus 44-yard line. 4th and 4. You do not punt the football. I, I don't know if you feel differently than this, but you do not punt the football from the plus 44, 4th and 4 when your team has been redundant the whole time. And I'm like, I know we got the ball back, but we got the ball back at our own 30. You know what I'm saying?
Mm,
That was in the fourth quarter. But okay,
okay.
John Chavis.
All right. Well. Again, yes. Uh, I believe so. Last time he was basically coaching at a game. I believe it was week 6 because I believe he was not at weeks. He was not at versus St. Louis.
He was not there versus
Maybe it
St.
was
Louis. He was there versus Houston. Or actually, do we
versus
know?
Houston. No, he was not Houston. I know that. He was not at Houston at home because that's when people are like, oh, okay, he's missing. But wasn't he at not week 7 also? Or am I maybe um
No.
no, he was at
I
week 7.
think,
He was at week 7. Yeah, he was at week
yeah.
7 because I saw him. Uh, but um, go, not week 8. We hear there's he was at the hospital. Um, does is not there for week 9. That's when like Saturdays when some of the news started trickling out. I had to stay silent on some of it. Um,
Yeah.
but it has
Well,
come
we
out
didn't know what
officially.
was real and
Uh,
what was false though, too.
yeah, well, yeah, but we had an idea because you know remember
Yeah.
things. Yeah. But it's official. It became official today. John Chavis is no longer with the team. I guess Scout. What's kind of your thoughts on the situation? There's some stuff we can't talk about, unfortunately. So I'm going to basically say that for some instances. But I guess Scout, what's your thoughts on now Dr. Anthony Blevins, the former was to be Vegas Vipers head coach, becoming joining the team in his place?
So I'll say one thing on Chavis. I've been outspoken about Chavis, but I did really like him. I think people that that we texted or whatever, you knew pretty easily that I like John. He had a very he would give about 20, 30. Now I will say my liaison to the mind of John Chavis. He says that this is fake, but or like false. But to me it makes sense, and I think to most people it makes sense is that he would give about 10, 20, 30 yards to figure out what the script was on the other side of the field, and then he would like put something in there to just like blow it up. And we saw it in DC, like we saw it for the DC
Yeah.
game. And I really I know me and Luke have gone back and forth about Corey Chamberlain. I would love to see, Corey Chamberlain move up the ranks. However, if he is the person that has been calling plays the past 2 weeks on defense, I need to see some more blitzes. Like, not to sound like, Roll Tide Willie, but blitz. But blitz Stallions blitz,
Blitz,
however you say
bro,
that.
name
Blitz.
Blitz.
Yes. Like, and and I'm not saying we have to blitz every time. I know blitzing is, risky, but we gave up so many 15-yard outs in the fourth quarter of that game. Oh, well, all right,
Yeah.
they might have been like 9-yard outs too, but you know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Like the amount of times where we sent four, we dropped back in coverage, and then it's like, oh wow, he's wide open. It's 2nd and 2 now, or oh wow, he just got a first down on 3rd and 7. I'm like, ugh, it didn't sit right with me, and I just don't know. But yeah, but to Anthony Belevin's point, uh. I like him, you know. I think he's cool. He's another Birmingham guy, which I think was an under the radar part of this. He's from Pleasant Grove, went to
Yeah.
UAB. But I think it's just an under the radar part. Also, and I guess our boys at Birmingham Sport haven't found this out enough. But he did play for the Steel Dogs. Somebody had told me that whenever I brought it up to them today. Um, he was one of the few players for the Birmingham Steel Dogs. But yeah, but obviously the man's been everywhere. He was with the Giants for a long while, and now he finds himself in with the Stallions. The funny thing is, it doesn't even have on it. So I'm looking at his Wikipedia. It doesn't even have his Vegas Vipers on the as a coach. It just has it
Well,
in the left hand column. So
yeah. Yeah. All right. Well, I kind of kind of talks about that. Very interested to see what Blevins does this weekend. I think the defense absolutely needs to figure out how to adjust to his style. I think this is the last chance before you get serious implications. Now we have, and just real quick, a one roster change. Ramiz Ahmed, he has unfortunately been waived, but we see a familiar face return to the Stallions in the kicking position. Chris Blewett is back. So just a quick note on that. So that brings, Chris back into the fold. He has been missing since week 4, so he is now back with the team. And we're glad to see that Chris's big leg is back and with
yeah.
the Stallions. So let's go and get on
Also,
with things with this. Go ahead.
I will say one thing. To my San Antonio brethren, because really, I'm not as mad at San Antonio as I am at, certain decisions by the Zebras, but the they pulled some of the exact same plays that were pulled against them in previous weeks, some of those pick plays, and they were called on it, and they didn't even get the challenge the week beforehand or 2 weeks
Okay.
beforehand or whatever. So,
What was this
when
to have to do with Ramiz though?
Oh, my
Ruiz.
fault. My fault.
Yeah.
I've been watching
Anyway,
but yeah. Anyways, Remiss, aka Deadeye, because for some reason at 1 a.m. I put that in the meme. You will be missed, my sir. You kicked a game-winning field
Mm.
goal. You are forever once a Stallion, forever a Stallion. Um, Chris, we're glad to have you back. But yeah. Oh,
Okay.
also,
Now,
JoJo.
okay, now, yes, we have to talk about our game when it comes to versus the Michigan Panthers. So let's get into that. When it comes to them, so what's your thoughts on this game? How do you? My first question really is, how do you handle starters for this game? Because you are playing the Stallions at home next week, also.
I don't know. I don't know. I think I will say I do think Michigan's a little bit more beat up than we are. I think we got beat up about middle of the season, whereas they've gotten beat up a lot more recently. Which they lost. Which linebacker did they lose? Was it It wasn't Gidnam, was it?
Friend, uh, yes,
Was it
it was
Gidnam?
uh, yeah, it was Genda. Yeah. He's out for
Yeah,
the season. He's
like
been out since like week 5.
yeah, but I'm saying we played him the last time, right?
Yes. Yeah. Mhm.
And they're definitely a lot more beat up than we were. Um, and I I don't know. I don't know how you do it. Uh, I think we probably play our starters or most of them at least for a little bit. But yes, I do think that we would be willing to throw this game to, because if we don't lose by more than 28, well, so there's more levels to this because like apparently I'm the only person on Twitter that understands what strength of victory is because way back when we were like, oh, this will go down to tiebreakers. Everybody was like, oh, what's like the first or second tiebreaker? And I was like, strength of victory. And yes, we do have similar wins, but we don't have the exact same wins. So like there's a few scenarios where we don't even have to like lose by 20 or whatever. I don't think we're gonna lose by
Mhm.
20. I would like to say the game either way is gonna be within 8 points or maybe 10 points. Um, but I just don't know like where my head would go with, But one thing I will say to the UFL in general and to the Stallions with the UFL is like this season has been great, honestly, in my opinion. Like, yeah, we've had some hiccups. We had a hiccup last week with, San Antonio, the refs, whatever. But like the fact that this is the final regular season game or whatever, like the past couple weeks have been hit or miss. There's a few games where I looked at the box score and was like, I'm not gonna watch that replay. But I was locked in for about the first 7 or 8 weeks of like, I'm gonna watch every single game, and every single game was great. I think even the toilet bowl will be great. The showboats,
Mm.
the showboats,
Houston.
um, Houston
Houston.
game.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I think that one will be a great game. Especially since they have something to play for. Also, something that somebody had brought up to me previously was that we did have a toilet bowl with the same exact rules, but because of the merger,
Okay.
they like
All right. All right. All
yeah.
right. Okay. But what's your thoughts on this weekend's game?
Oh, I'm just saying, I think it'll be. I can't really predict it because, as you said, we don't really know how it'll play out, right? If the starters
Hmm.
are in, I think we beat them by 14 to 20, right? But if we do what I
Hmm.
assume we do, and we just play it like a preseason game, like we play our starters for like a quarter or a half, and then we play our backups for the rest of the time, then it's more than like it's less than that, right? And
Uh,
I don't know how Skip would take it, right? Because Skip's the type where he's like, oh yeah, we're really wanting to, like make sure that we finish out strong, that we win this game or whatever. And then but then you get down to it, and I'm like, would Skip put somebody like who hasn't really been featured, like Isaiah Zuber, like would he put him at
or
wide
Larry
receiver
Roundtree the
too?
third.
Or Larry Roundtree the third, or even backup offensive or defensive lineman, right? Would he put them in a position? Have we seen Bubba Bolden, or is he even on the team anymore? Like the safeties, I feel like the DBs, we have so many of them that like I only see four a game, or at least four making
Mm.
plays a game.
So basically,
Um,
what you're saying is
but yeah.
you think we're going to see a lot of kind of we're gonna see some new blood kind of come in and get some steps in case there's any injuries or anything like that.
Yes, I
Okay.
100% think. Oh, also Buffalo Bowler
All
got
right.
waived. I forgot about
All right. All right. Well, so but for my thing, I think what we're gonna see is kind of. I think they're going to kind of steal what the Battlehawks were planning to do with Jim Karen before his ankle injury. I think it's going to be start 1 to 2 drives per quarter, get that in. 1 2 drives. That's usually about half a quarter, right there. And then you play Matt Corral, or if somehow something happens, Jamar Smith comes in. So that's going to be my guess for this game. You said 14-20 is your guess, about by 14-20 points, Stallions victory. I'm going to say it's a little closer. I think it's going to be 10-13 points, a Stallions victory. I think this game is going to be a little close, but I think the Stallions will win out this game, and they will beat all their USFL opponents. So that wraps up this episode of Stallions Run. Scout, where can people find you on social media?
Yeah, you can find me at Southern Charm Sports or at Southern Charm SP on Twitter, at Southern Charm Sports everywhere else. If we're not there yet, I'm sorry. But yeah, we post a variety of content. We just went to New Orleans. We post a bunch of stuff there. Now that we're back, I'm gonna be posting, UFL stuff, Braves stuff, college football stuff, the whole 9 yards. But yeah.
All right. And you can find me on Twitter/X at Stallions UFM. Just put it in right there. You can find me right there. I do post game thoughts. I halftime thoughts also. I also talk about what's going on throughout the week with the Stallions. So follow me if you're looking to follow the Stallions and all the news in regards to that. But until then, we'll see you next week.